I did want to kind of get into the Isaiah Stewart news, which I'm sure you saw as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
He could be in trade talks. I just want to say I feel like he's been in trade talks since we drafted him. Like I feel like every summer like he's in trade talks, but like do you think this is the year that they might try to sell high on him?
So like James Edwards used to talk about this all the time. Is like the reason Stu's in trades talks is because other teams want Stu. And
Yeah.
like back when James was covering the team, like there were a few other players on the team like other teams wanted, and like Stu was one of them. I and you know I think Stu is part. It's partially because like other teams do probably want Stu. He is a really impactful player and is like 25 minutes a night. But the other thing is like again from a roster construction standpoint, if you're paying Stu like 15, 16 million and you're paying Duran 40 million, you're getting $55 million worth of center rotation minutes, and like that's not super great. It's like maybe it makes more sense to just split those minutes or split that salary a little bit differently. Could you get Paul Reed for like 8 million and have him do a lot of what you're getting from Stu, from an event creation standpoint, if not like a rim protection standpoint? Um, and like, yeah, Paul Reed's like a really, really valuable piston to have. Does the fact that he's so valuable make Stu expendable? Like a little bit for sure. But I also maintain that Stu was injured. I know he said he wasn't injured. I know Trajan said he wasn't injured. You could clearly tell. Like I was there for those Cleveland games. Like he was not like moving right. Like he had been moving earlier in the playoffs. And so like that plays into it as well. But the style of play he plays leads you to believe that like yeah, this is a guy who might just not be able to stay healthy in the playoffs. This is the second straight year he's run into an injury in the playoffs. So yeah, I Stu also like really fits the identity of the
Yeah.
team, not to the level of Asar, but his ability to like come in, protect the paint, and be undersized, and uh, really like create space for himself to get rebounds and for the team to get rebounds, and space the floor like a little tiny bit is really valuable for this team. I think he brings like the mentality you want the team to have. Um, but if he's not going to be healthy for the playoffs, and he's going to continue to be used in a very limited way offensively, then you understand why his name is in trade talks. He'd be like Stu would be like an amazing Celtic, right? Like they need a
Yeah.
big man who can do what he does like so badly, right? Stu would be like a really good he'd be like a really good Thunder, right? That sounds weird to say it like that, but he'd be really good in OKC, right? Like
Yeah.
able to protect the rim. You could play him like next to Chet. Um, like they probably let him space the floor a little bit more than his coaching staff does, and so like he'd be really good in those situations, and they wouldn't have to lean on him too much because they've already have like other centers. So yeah, I don't want to trade Stu. I think Stu's very valuable. I think he's an important part of this team, but I understand why. And depending on what the return is, I'm not going to be like super duper torn up about it. Yeah, Cruz, a good point. Like he'd be great for the Lakers as well.
Feel like it'd be great for almost every NBA team because like just the shot blocking. But I'm glad you brought up like the injury thing in the playoffs because I think I found the highlight where he did like kind of like hurt his knee. It was a block against the Magic, and he felt
Mm-hmm.
extremely hard. And he grabbed his knee right away, and then he just kind of
Mm-hmm.
hobbled back onto the court.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people, like Pistons fans, are pointing out, like, dude, he's got no lift anymore. Like, he can't even protect the rim anymore. And I remember reading that piece from the Detroit News saying, like, I'm not injured. I'm 100% healthy. It just didn't look like it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I feel like if Stu does get traded, I do understand why Pistons fans would be extremely upset. Longest tenured Piston, kind of just like the heart and soul of the team. I shouldn't say kind of. He is the heart and soul of the team. I could understand why Pistons fans would be upset of them even entertaining it. But to your point, like if Duran's getting 40, Stu's on 15 million for the next 2 years, so 30 million still committed to Stu. Um, Paul Reed's still on your roster. It's just hard. I mean, I've seen people saying like, I'd rather just roll with Isaiah Stewart at starting center. And it's just like, I don't know if you could get
I
Isaiah
don't know if you
Stewart
can get away with
for a
that.
he just plays way too physical at 110% all the time, where like when you see him protect the rim, he sacrifices his body for a block. Like I think if you start Stu, you'd be lucky to get 35, 40 games out of him, because just the way he plays and how physical he is, he's much better suited off of the bench against second unit. Not to say that he couldn't start in a pinch, but like he
It
just plays so physical, and like it's just a matter of time before he has like a really major injury and you're kind of stuck with them too.
Yeah. I think what I would say, I would agree with you, and what I would say is that it's really hard for me to imagine playing Stu. If Stu played 35 minutes a night the way he currently plays, like he I don't know if he could maintain like the level of intensity he brings, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, is he less effective, or does he get hurt? Right? Does he get hurt trying to like be that effective over that long time period, or is he just like trying to conserve energy and missing a lot of what like makes him special as a defender?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult situation. I think the only reason why he is in like a lot of these trade conversations is just because, in my opinion, I think he's one of the most valuable assets this team has. Like when you're
Yeah,
talking about the like trade assets, like he's on a mid-level exception basically. I know a lot of us hated the contract when Troy gave it to him. We're like, really, 60 million? But like, that
it
contract is
aged pretty good. Yeah,
it aged beautifully. Maybe Trey knew what he was doing. Maybe he knew what he was doing with the contract extensions. I'll just say that. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did move on from him. But at the same time, I could definitely see him being on the roster for next season.
yeah.